Today and Chris are just doing a few deer breakdowns this morning. It's just how we generally cut things. I'm doing a lot of the breaking, Chris is doing a lot of the trimming behind me, and we're just prepping our deer for the shop basically. These are nice ones off an estate just in Yorkshire, so nice and local to us, not too far away, somewhere from Alan's neck of the woods. So yeah, hope you enjoy watching it. I'll talk through a few things as we go along, but I'll just let you watch for the most part. We've just split everything open over there just so I can get into the fillets. I'm going to take the fillets out first. The reason I'm going to take the fillets out first is I just don't want to risk damaging them, as they are one of the most prized cuts inside the whole carcass. So we'll get them out nicely, and then once they're out we can go a little bit faster without worrying about damaging them. There's your two fillets there. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing any trimming. I'm just going to pass it all to Chris behind me, because Chris will get it all trimmed up and ready. A bit better when we work like this as a team, because everyone can just kind of be in their zone, their mode of what they're doing. We can get the job done a bit quicker, but also make sure that everything's done nice and properly, because everyone's taking pride in doing their own section. Taking the shoulders off whole here, you just have to be careful because we go right round the edge of the shoulder blade. So I just put my body on yours, use your leverage from your body when you're cutting meat. It makes it a heck of a lot easier for you. But also just make sure that your body's in the right direction as well, because your knife wants to go past you but never towards you. We're just following the bones right up the end of the rib cage here. Following the bones, and then we're just going to go right down the bones, the whole way down the rib cage. Leave us with a nice clean carcass. And make sure that we'll get all that meat off. We'll get it into diced for the flank, and then put the rest into burgers or sausages. You have to be careful when you go down into this section over here. I'll move it and show you. But just as we go down that part of the rib cage there, we start seeing that little piece over there. That's going to be our sirloin, which we sell as the fillets of venison. So we need to be making sure that we've got those nice and clean, but also that we're not damaging them or slashing them. Otherwise they won't steak nicely and they won't cook well either. It's a bit hard for you to see as well, but when I'm working behind here, I'm just going around the edge of the neck. I'll turn it around in a second so that you can see, but I'm just going around the edge of the neck bones as well, because I try and take as much of the meat off the carcass all at once as possible. Makes it a lot easier when I'm working with the neck section of carcass if all the meat's off it. Right, so now I've loosened all the meat on this side. So I go down the neck on this side now. That's what you couldn't see me doing before. I was literally just running my knife down there, and I'm trying to run over the bones. There's lots of bones that spike in different directions, like a star in the neck, but you try and move your knife around it in as many directions as you can to get those out. And then there is meat just left in pockets. But when Chris is trimming at the back, he'll get his knife nicely into each pocket. Right, so we've moved all the meat off that neck, all the meat off that one side. We'll flip it over now. We're going to do the reverse on the opposite side, and then we'll be able to just pull straight down through the back strap later, and it'll all come off all at once. I'll try and do this at a bit better angle so you can see what I'm doing this time. So there's a lot of soft cartilage down the edge here, so I tend to just run my knife up there so that I'm not fighting the cartilage, because I also don't want to cut the cartilage and leave the cartilage in the trimmings, because that would be those nice little bony pieces that people leave in sausages very often. They don't want any of that happening. Straight down that rib cage, it all peels off nice and clean. I'm at another stage now where I've got my body on it again, and I'm kind of pulling against it so that I'm not forcing anything. I'm just using nice gentle forces to pull it all to pieces. Just making sure that I'm not damaging anything while I'm busy doing it. Making sure that nothing slips so I don't cut myself either. Now we're just going up and down like that through the bones. Those are the back bones. We go up and down like that just to make sure that we get all the meat from around every joint. Then as we get to the front, they kind of even out and the bones even out, so we can just pull our knife straight down there. We've got a nice even cut, so when we go down the back strap, we'll be able to just pull each side off nice and clean. Right, so that's your back strap over there. Now, right down that middle, you'll be able to see a line. I'll just draw on it with my knife and you can see it a bit more clearly. Right underneath there is your spine. So we'll break that piece off over there. Then that can be flapped onto either side like that. Hit that bang on. Now we're going to find one side of the spine, and then I'll switch onto the other side of the spine. We'll leave the spine nice and clean with no meat on it, but take our back strap off whole. And there we go. That's your full fillet of venison, or your sirloin of venison, and your flank, as well as your brisket, and any other trimming all at the same time. Now for the other side. Yep. There we go. Turn it over. Now we just break through the vertebrae here. On your leg, you've got vertebrae in the spine, and if we go right through the vertebrae, we'll be able to just crack that leg straight off there. So that's through the vertebrae, your leg's cracked straight off from your loin. Take the neck off quickly. Like I say, we'll trim a bit more off that neck, but then that'll be ideal for some soup bones, or somebody's dog will get lucky there. the legs to one side for a minute. Don't want to be wasting anything on the carcass, so we'll go up and down in between each rib. We'll get all the trimming we can out of it. This will go into your burgers or your sausages. Just a nice quick motion, we run down and then run back up again. It's not something you can spend too much time on, because obviously sausages and burgers you don't get a lot of money for, so you need to do it quickly. Yes, please. Very good that we've got this little bit of fat on our venison. It shows that they're eating nicely as well. It shows that they're nice healthy carcasses, and that will make a lot of difference in how they taste as well. In between over here, I'll just crack those ribs so that we can get to it a bit better. But over here you've got just a little bit of meat that runs inside. It runs up to your neck, kind of just supports the neck a little bit, because they've got such long necks. They seem to have a piece of meat on the inside that's quite prominent, runs up into it. It's also one of those things in terms of yield, and we don't want to leave the bones dirty. The animal has died for us, so make sure we use as much of it as possible. Leave as little to waste as possible, although not much goes to waste at all. There we go, that's our nice clean carcass. There's not much gone to waste on that, so I'm happy with that. That'll end up with somebody's dog. That's nice trim for your burgers or your sausages. Trim. Yeah. Pass them over to Chris and you'll get them trimmed up nicely. We'll move on to boning the shoulders out. Just a quick sharpen on the knife. There we go, that's your shank end over there. Then you've got your bone in the middle, which we call your clod bone, and then down here you've got your shoulder blade. So you'll see me pull each one out as we go along. We do this differently from carcass to carcass. Beef's obviously a lot bigger, so we'll just pull one bone out at a time. These we tend to try and go around a few of the bones before we pull the meat off, just so that we've got something more to hold on to. Better off on these smaller carcasses just to try and trim around all the edges of all your bones before you start trying to pull them out, just because once you've got the bone off you'll have lots of little fiddly bits to try and sort out if you've not got it all clean beforehand. See me going into here with the back of my knife. I'm just trying to break a seam that's there. Once we break that seam, we can get our meat off that bone nice and clean and not leave a lot on that bone at all, really. Which is exactly what we're going for. Nice clean finish. Right, this is the part where I said we've got some bones left to hold on to now, so I've still got them to hold on to and to push against while I sort out my blade bone. Back of the knife again. Just get it in there. Try and break some of these seams off for myself. There we go. You can see there, I've got it for the most part. There's a little bit still left on there, but that's nice and clean. Take that last little bit of meat off at the bottom. It's a nice clean bone. So we tend to take a little bit more time in when we do this. Just make sure that we get it done properly. There's lots of people that leave a lot of meat on the bones, but like I said, at the end of the day, one of our ethos with things like this is not to have any waste at all, or as little waste as possible. But it's also just, that's how the job's done properly, so we'll try and do it like that as much as we can. Alright, so. One. Don't be saying that, it's on your video now.
I love you. I love this.
So you're cold?
Fuck, it's more work.
Right, onto the legs now. Just going to split the legs in two. I'm going to try and take the complete H-bone out in one, to save us a little bit of time. There we go. Those are nice full legs there. We've got the rump on that leg still, a bit of shank on that leg still, but I'm going to break them all down today. Anyway, just because we need the steaks and things for the shop. We'll take a bit of trim off the bottom and then we'll start cutting our rump steaks through there. Cut the rumps right up to that hyson bone there. Stick them to one side. There we go. No, because you were talking.
Alright, fella. How are you doing? Yeah. How much the tray, please? How much the tray?
$8.50.
$8.50, yeah. Get it here. Hey? Get it here. Now I can do about it. Animal feed, plus a basket.
There we go. So we've got your two shin there, and then I broke that other leg down, and we've got your top side, your knuckle, and your silver side. They're all nice. I've taken all the fat out, all sinews off the side, so that's all ready for rolling up. I'll talk through as I bone this one. There's just a bit of background noise last time. So we just go straight from the knuckle end right down to the end of the knuckle, the hip joint, down that bone. This piece over here is your top side that we're busy pulling off now. Just want to be very careful when you pull down in here, because the top side meets a couple of other muscles, and there's a nice thin section over there. If you're not in the right place, you can end up cutting into your silver side muscle, which you don't want to be doing. You want to keep them nice and separate. So that's nice there. So that's your top side over there. Trim that little bit of excess fat off, and then there's just a little bit of sinew on this side to come off. So get them off over there, and that's good for rolling just as is. They're not the most perfectly even joints in the world, however, they do cook nice like that, and I've never had any problems cooking them like that, so that's how we do them. Straight down the other side of this bone. Again, just trying to find those membranes on the bone to make sure that they're nice and clean. And I always say to cut away from yourself, but when you're doing this, you do tend to aim your knife a little bit in your direction. But we have got chainmail on, so it's not the end of the world. We won't end up stabbing ourselves. Little bone in the end there, that's basically your kneecap. I'm going to go around that and get them out. That just sits right at the end of your knuckle joint. Call it the knuckle because it literally goes right onto the knuckle joint or the knee of the leg. Very, very nice tender cut. Lots of butchers put the knuckle in dice, but I tend to put it in roasts. I do think it roasts well, and it's always nice and lean for those people that want a leaner cut as well. Just trim that nice and square. Another little knuckle there, perfect, ready to go. Straight down the end of that. Thin silver skin on there, I don't know if you can see it or not, but we'll go down there gently. Make sure we get only the silver skin off and not damage any of the meat. See how nice and thin we've taken that off. It's literally just pulling the silver skin off and nothing else. That, we'll get rid of that because it's very chewy. It's no good to anyone. Down to the knuckle end of this now. I'm going to square this in, just through the knuckle. That's going to be a nice bit of diced, so we'll send that over to Chris in a minute as he's doing all the dicing. Now this chunk of fat that I'm just taking out there, it's got a very small gland in it. We'll cut through it and you can see that little dark piece there, that's your gland. You want to take that out. It's a little bit bitter, so gland straight out. Leave the rest of the fat in for the burgers, but your gland's gone. And there we go, a nice, very square silver side ready to roll. So both of your shanks, they're going to go into diced. Your other knuckles will into diced. And we'll get them strung up quickly, and then you'll be able to see the whole lot all on the table behind me. Lots of people tie these, but because they're so small, we've just got these nice little roasting trussing bands. We tend to use them. They put enough pressure on it to keep it nice while you're cooking, but they're also nice and easy to get off at the other end. Right, so we'll just do a quick run through of what we got here out of our venison carcass. There is a couple of venison carcasses mixed in here, but you'll get the gist of things with all the cuts that we've got out of it. So we'll start, we've got some whole legs over there just at the back. We're just going to keep those whole in case any customers come in and they want a bigger roast, or I can cut it down into steaks or diced or whatever I need at a later date depending on what sells first. Got our nice diced out of there. Most of you diced out your shoulder and your shins. And then we've got your rump steaks over here. Those are off a couple of leaner ones, and then I've got some rump steaks off that nice one that had a bit more fat on it over there. All your fillets. The fillets are looking absolutely lovely. They're all nice and trimmed up. Silver skin's gone off them, so they're looking beautiful. They're just ready for eating. And then we've got your back straps, or your sirloins. That one's got your silver skin on still, but that one we've trimmed the silver skin off. I just wanted to give you, be able to compare both of them for you so that you can see what we do. And then we've got all the bones, so you've got your femurs, your shoulder blades, and then your whole rack out of there. Your neck for your stews or for dog bone. And then we've got a whole array of nice joints off then your silver sides, your top sides, and your knuckle joints. So that's pretty much everything we get out of venison. And then we'll be making sausages and burgers out of the trim as well. Thank you very much.